here and beyond. Get ready for Raising the Cane. Welcome to Raising the Cane. Yay!
Yay!
We're glad you joined us for episode number 2. So, what are we going to talk about today? How about billionaires in space? How's that?
I want to wish all those grandparents and seniors out there a very happy World Grandparents and Elderly Day.
Okay.
Ditto.
Well, ditto then. So, let's talk about billionaires in space. Maybe some of those grandparents are billionaires.
All right.
So, what do you think about Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, that other guy?
And Elon Musk coming up.
And Elon Musk. He didn't do it yet, so
September.
But he's coming up, and I don't know if there's any other billionaires out there. But let's talk about the controversy, and this is bipartisan. This is partisan, actually, about why are they spending all their money in outer space versus for Earth? That's the Bernie Sanders of the world. Why are they spending their money on themselves in outer space versus on human beings on Earth?
Why couldn't they have taken Bernie Sanders up and left him there?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
So
it's their money.
It's their money.
I
for those of you watching, go ahead, Sandra.
No, I think that it's their money. They have the right to do what they want. Although it will be nice for them to spend something on Earth, but to me, this is progress.
Yeah.
They're opening something for the future. So it doesn't have to be only the government, or only if they have the money and they can able to invest and take in whoever, because now you have the opportunity to have not just train individuals that that literally they have chosen, but civilians, somebody that can be able to have the opportunity to go. So to me it's fascinating, and I think that is great.
Okay, what do you think, Maurice?
Absolutely. I totally agree with him. And and there's this false dichotomy that's created, as if there's this dualistic Manichaean trade-off between billionaire industrialist inventors going up into space, which is somehow portrayed as being a purely hedonistic activity, versus some type of philanthropic activity. Richard Branson, who founded Virgin and its offshoot Virgin Galactic, Bezos, who everybody knows as the founder of Amazon, as well as Blue Origin, which is his space company, and even Elon Musk, who we all know from PayPal, Tesla, Solar City, and his dream of fully autonomous vehicles, and SpaceX, more relevantly, when he will be going up into space himself, is that there's this assumption they haven't already done something of benefit. Each of them employ thousands of men and women.
Exactly.
Who are, because of that employment, are able to live independent lives. Apartments, condos, single-family homes. They can buy their own vehicles. They can travel around the world. They've already done something philanthropic. Poor people don't give you jobs. It actually takes wealthy individuals and governmental enterprise to employ people. So part of it is selfish and ambitious. They want to go into space, but that's not something to condemn. Because we benefit from people's selfishness. That's what Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, and all those classic economists are about. we benefit. A baker or a banker in his or her or their enterprises, they may be acting selfishly in order to take care of themselves, their households, and their families, but we benefit from the companies that they establish. So, you know, yay Branson, yay Bezos, yay Musk.
They have a right to spend their money legally any way they choose. And there is an argument, I understand Mr. Sanders and his group. There's a lot of people in need on planet Earth. But the thing is, we can't get around, it's their money. And now you want to have a dictatorship where you just take their money? Maybe you do. You want to tax them to death, I imagine. And tax normal people, average middle America, that go to work to feed their families, it's enough taxation as it is. But let's get back to the core that there's people they can help on earth. That's true. And maybe it is some selfishness. And they are.
Yeah.
They
And
are.
look, they provide jobs. I know you want them to pay $50, $70 an hour, but they're employing millions of people.
They
All
donate
these-
also.
Yeah, and they donate heavily. Look at Oprah. You're going to get her next if she wants to go to outer space. I don't know if she wants to go or not. But, this is morphing into space tourism. It's going to be another avenue. True, it's a capitalist agenda, but it's still going to provide jobs, and you never know how it's going to turn out in the future. But space tourism, it's like people want to zip around the moon or Venus, Mars. Who are to say it's a bad idea? As long as they spend their money, and the goal is to reduce from what I was reading, the price from whatever 200,000, 250,000 down to where more people can purchase tickets. Look at Disneyland. When we started going to Disneyland, it was $4, $5, $6, $8.
Yeah.
And then it went to $12. We thought the world was coming to an end when it went to $12. Outrageous. Went from $8 to $12 with the e-tickets. Remember the e-tickets, folks?
Yeah.
Old enough?
Yeah.
I still have some.
Kids, we don't know what e-tickets are. Ask your grandparents or parents. And so then it went to $25. Then Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm and Universal followed suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it went to $50, $70. It didn't stop. $80, $90. So, when does it stop? And so, and by the way, rich folks own those places too.
Yeah.
And so they have a right to spend their money however they choose, and it would be nice that they do spend as much money as they feel is necessary for themselves to help other people, to help out humanity. And so we get that. We get that. Help people on earth before anything else. But at the same time, we live in a republic, right? We don't live in, I won't name the countries that dictate and determine.
Cuba and Venezuela.
Oh, okay, there's two.
China.
China, okay.
And North Korea.
So if you wanna behave or be like those countries, maybe you do.
And maybe that's where you should go.
Maybe you should go there, because we live in a good old U.S. America, the American flag. Okay, that's where we live.
Free will.
Free will. Yes, right.
Exactly.
And we may not like someone's politics or like what they do for a living or like their philosophies, but that's what makes America great, right?
Yeah.
Free of speech.
That's right.
And
that's
so,
the person.
we have to get off of that trying to spend other people's money for them. Make your own billions, and then you can keep it on Earth. How's that?
Yeah.
And so nothing's stopping you.
Nothing.
And so, and for you folks that are income challenged, we pray for you. But however, you need to take action, and don't wave the white flag of defeat. Don't quit. Okay? I know what's not going to make you prosper is bashing other people who have made it.
Absolutely.
That's not going to go
Yes.
anywhere. So we wouldn't have advanced as a nation, as states, if we didn't allow people to invent. Look at Graham Bell, Edison. And you know what? I want to morph the conversation into history for a second. You know, February, it's Black History Month, then we have Asian Pacific, we have Cinco de Mayo, we have Hispanic Heritage Month and all this. But guess what? When we were going to school, elementary, junior high, high school, even college, it would have been nice to just have history versus this history, that history. It only should be one history. But what happened was the races of the world, which were principals, teachers, presidents of the United States, Congress people, senators, racists, they changed history by wiping people off the planet Earth. Like those ladies in the NASA thing that were mathematicians.
Hidden Figures.
In Hidden Figures. Didn't know they existed. These women are 100 years old, now we know they exist. And we would not have gotten a man on the moon without these ladies, black ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's a book I have called Black First. So one day I'm going to have it. It's real thick. It talks about all the blacks that invented things. And then also I did my research that I went into other countries, even like China, Mexico, Central America. You have all these people with their first that created stuff that you had no idea if you were to take a class in American history.
Yeah.
And that who only focused on one group of people, Anglo-Saxons, right?
Yeah.
That created stuff, invented stuff. Like the rest of us were too stupid to come up with anything like how about the traffic light? Okay, do your homework.
Right.
Who created the traffic light? Wasn't Anglo-Saxon. So, a racetrack. Hello?
Yeah.
Even the abortion pill. Not proud of that one, but with someone other than that had a history besides here that came over here. And so we should have just one history, folks. It's a shame that now on Facebook, Instagram, we're getting our history lessons from them.
Yes.
So anyone want to bash Mark Zuckerberg, don't. He is, without Facebook, we wouldn't have known many of this stuff. So it's unfortunate that our property taxes, our parents' property taxes that paid for the schools to teach us, wasn't used wisely. It was stolen from their wallets so they can indoctrinate us that there was only a twisted history, a false history. Okay, what happened was, let me say something about the Native Americans. You know what? We should have leased their land from them and not stolen their land and slaughtered them. Okay, I'm on a rant and rave now, rant and rave moment. And we should have,
We can tell.
and you know what? Perhaps you could have asked black people around the world, can you get on our boat? We need laborers, we'll pay you
We'll pick
something,
cotton
we'll pick cotton, whatever, instead of stealing us, kidnapping black folks from around the world. Yeah, and that wasn't just an American thing, that was a Spanish Empire thing, okay, too, and a British thing. So you guys aren't out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
And so you guys belittle, diminish people other than yourself and your own race. So it was a collusion of sorts, of devils. And maybe on another day we'll hit spirituality. Because if there truly is a heaven and a hell, where do you think all those people are at that did this to people? Do you think they're in a happy place now? Keep telling yourself that. Okay, I'm done with my rant and rave.
What about the vampires?
Let's talk about vampires. I love vampires. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a vampire.
Why?
You wanted to be
I wanted to be a vampire.
Why?
I wasn't into the sucking blood thing now.
Because usually, if given a choice, this is just an informal survey, would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? People choose werewolves because you can go out in the daytime.
Right. But then the werewolves that they show couldn't control themselves. They were like beasts and they woke up naked somewhere.
I know.
And where are you going to get clothes in the middle of the city now? See, that was good. It was in rural areas. You're butt naked behind a cactus bush. And that would hurt, by the way. Cactus bush, butt naked.
Oh,
And so
Was there a cactus in the Wolfman?
I don't know, but I'm just thinking. You wake up and you don't have any clothes on. Where did they get the clothes?
All right. So you want to be a vampire because you can stay
You need to have it hide it.
Stay clothed.
Yeah, I have.
You need to hide it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you know it's
stashes.
going to happen in a
Stashes
full
of clothes,
moon,
yeah.
so
but,
you need to.
but you can be anywhere.
Exactly.
And so I actually wanted to be a hybrid werewolf vampire, which they did in Underworld.
Yes.
And if you see the Underworld, there are 4 or 5 movies. Okay, great
Yeah.
movie series in my opinion, that showed werewolves, the Lycans fighting against the vampire masters, and they were treated wrong, treated as slaves, as other creatures of the night.
So Lycans are kind of like the civil rights.
Yeah, it was a civil rights
aspect.
show actually. If you really watch Underworld, it showed the Lycans, which are the werewolves. They just wanted to be free. They didn't even want to fight the vampires, but they were the vampires were the masters, whipping them and killing them, and pillaging their villages,
Yeah.
and creating terror with their families, the little werewolf babies.
Lift every voice and howl.
Yeah, and so at first I didn't get it. I said, "Wow, these werewolves are crazy and demonic and this and that," but they would just want their freedom.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So I wonder why they were. I understand,
Depict.
So
you're taking the werewolf's perspective.
yes, I am, and so. However, being a hybrid would be good. Hybrid, I could walk during the day, and I can control
Fly.
myself,
Yeah.
hopefully, and so.
Yeah.
But anyway,
What
let's-
about you? What do you think about it? What would you prefer?
I'd actually, if given that binary choice between vampirism and lycanthropy, I would probably go for the werewolf, because I like to kind of work on my tan, and I enjoy sunshine. And at least if we're looking at your historic cinematic portrayal of the undead bloodsuckers. Now, in Bram Stoker's original Dracula novel, our ancient Transylvanian count actually is outside during the daylight hours. So that was somewhat a product of Universal Pictures that created that nocturnal limitation, which we've since adopted in most of the subsequent vampirology and literature and short stories and movies and TV shows. But having said all that, vampires technically are dead, and they have rank breath, and because they are walking corpses, it seems to me like there'd be some hygienic issues there. So with a werewolf, you're a functioning human being during the day. You may have some spillover enhanced senses that actually could help you. And then it's only during the full moon that certain types of werewolves involuntarily transform. Now there's others who can will that transformation themselves.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, MCU universe, where he can't control himself for the most part, and then all of a sudden he learned to control himself, and he says, "Well, how do you control it?" He says, "I don't. I'm always angry." Remember
Just
that
like
line? He said he's always angry. So
Me, I'm always angry.
So he can change at will because he always stays angry, but he controls it to a point where he doesn't turn. So, but he's able to turn on a second now because of his ability to control himself. Now, that's the highest form of emotional intelligence, controlling his behavior and his anger, his rage.
Yeah.
And so for you folks who have anger management issues, watch The Incredible Hulk.
You know who you are. We're going to find you.
Yeah, watch The Incredible Hulk. And so, yeah, he has rage, but he's fighting very bad people who want to destroy the earth or the universe. So that's a time to get angry, right?
Or attacking you.
Yeah, for attacking your folks, your earth.
And a lot of that rage is Bruce Banner's trauma because he was subjected to a very abusive father
Right.
who actually killed his mother. And so when he's exposed to the radiation from the gamma ray bomb, it takes all that psychological turmoil and all the constellation of all those and that anger, and it interacts with the gamma radiation. And in the comic book incarnations of the Incredible Hulk, he has demonstrated different personalities. Because originally, this is where I think your linkage to werewolves and lycanthropy was very important because when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, creators of the Incredible Hulk, first devised the character, he was portrayed as gray and he transformed at night.
Mm.
And it was later explained that they intended him to be green, but there was an issue in the early 60s in translating green into gray effectively in the pages of comic books.
Oh.
And over time, he has had all these different versions. The World War Hulk, Professor Hulk, which you see very recently in the Marvel films, and all these other gradations. And in fact, we're concluding a run of the Immortal Hulk, which took the character in a horror direction, which is basically what werewolves are about, kind of the horror of this involuntary shift from a rational, ambulatory, civilized human being into this carnivorous, horrific, monstrous creature that is preying upon his own family and neighborhood and community, which is
Wow.
the danger of the Hulk, the danger of the beast within, the werewolves.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Didn't know.
So we hope you're learning some things.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about next?
I think you were on the subject, I think before we began this particular podcast, on the subject of cryptocurrency.
Yes. So let's talk briefly about crypto, and we'll have a whole segment on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just talk about the merits of it or the dismerit of it. As you know, you don't have to be an expert to participate in this conversation, by the way. It's an alternative to what we call fiat currency, which is our dollar, and the country's, whatever country of choice you're in, main currency. So it could be the British pound or whatever, the ruble. So the dollar, it's intended to one day replace the dollar. What do you feel about an alternative to the United States dollar, or something comparable to it that gives you a choice? That's not subject to, it'll be a hedge against inflation, equivalent to
Centralization.
yeah. And so one could treat it as if gold. Usually no one has a problem with gold, but to treat it like an asset. So there's different classes of crypto. One like Bitcoin, with the symbol BTC, I believe, where it's designed to be a currency, a standalone currency. And then you have other form of crypto which are more in tune with gold, or as an asset class.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your feeling as far as the currency part? Do you think that we should have something that is an alternative to the mighty dollar, which all the world's currencies are paying to?
In fact, I believe every country in the world should use the US dollar as its currency. And if there's any alternative to the dollar whatsoever, it should strictly be a second-class currency citizen. That the United States, if properly deregulated, and certain politicians would just go into space the next time Bezos flies up and stay there on some asteroid, I think we would be better off.
Well, there's a space station they can carve out a nice rest of their life living.
Just stay there, yeah.
And since some people don't like our country, they can,
Even some of our politicians don't like our country.
yeah, they can. Yeah, there's alternatives. There's always choices. But back to crypto. So you believe that every country should just actually use the U.S. dollar, but the question. So that basically answers the question that no, Maurice doesn't want any other currency to replace the dollar. That's what his true answer is.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want the dollar to replace every other currency.
So, what do you say, Sandra? Let's hear from Sandra.
Well, I think that to me it's a way of decentralize. Somebody, the middleman, the banks, dictating what they're doing with your money, and also you are in control. I mean, to me, I have cryptocurrency, and I see it fluctuating, but it's under my control. What I earn is mine. I don't have a middle person telling me this is what you're gonna be. If I put something in the savings account, they're only giving me a point zero something of interest. I am the one that is getting directly. So there's a lot to be learned. I'm in the process of learning, but I'm not really shutting down as to what can be done in the future. I think that that's going to be the future. There's a lot of countries right now, China, I mean in El Salvador, from where I'm from, they're already using it. I know there's protests, and I think that is because of the lack of understanding, fear. But I think as we get to learn more and more about what it's doing, then it's going to be acceptable. Right now, our currency is the dollar. So they accepted the dollar in El Salvador. But now with Bitcoin, people, it's incredible. There's little towns, poor people accepting Bitcoin as a, to buy paletas, what is that, an ice cream. So it's really interesting. There's a lot to learn. Again, I will encourage everybody to learn, to investigate, and I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment that, so we've invested some into Ether, Cardo, which is ADA, its token.
Soul.
Soul, yes, and what's some other ones? We're Polkadot is another one, and so staying away from those like Doge and Shiba.
I have that.
We have
Doge,
some
I
too.
think.
We have some too, but that's a clown token.
It's fun, and I know that.
Yeah, that's a clown token. Yeah, for the please, people, get serious. But yeah, just invest. Invest. It's fine. But do your homework. I urge you, do not borrow money to invest into anything. Now the exception is maybe your home, your single family home, your home, your condo, or whatever that you live in. Because most people don't have $200,000-$400,000 to buy a home, so you're forced to get a loan, but only if you can afford it. Otherwise, you need to rent. We've rented for years. We were renters, and so we come from modest beginnings. And so, if you can't afford it, don't borrow more than you can afford. And that's a whole nother topic for another show. We're going to talk about money, about savings, investing in different classes. So stay tuned for those episodes coming up. The main thing is save your money and do your homework. So we're going to recommend some good books too in future episodes that you can read. There's an excellent material out there, and plus just on the internet and YouTube and all these other social media, it's no reason that to fall behind or not move forward. So just use this crypto. Educate yourself. And it's nice to be part of something, but if you can't afford it, to lose all of it, then don't do it. Your braces for your children or the school, your clothes, food, shelter, those come first.
I think that there's a little bit that everybody can afford. Your $5 for a cup, like we were talking the other day, for a cup of coffee. Save it and put it into your investments. It doesn't necessarily have to be crypto, but something that it could prepare you for the future. To be independent, we have been taught to spend money. And the reality is that the more that you have control of your finances, the more independent you are, and the freedom that you will experience. So I am so excited about the new generations that I see that they're investing, and kudos to all of you who are doing that. Start planning for your future, and stop having other people make decisions for you.
Yes, count your own money, and you need to be an active participant in your own development and growth. This show is about growth, folks. Personal and professional development. Can't have one without the other, by the way. They go hand in hand. So I know you may not like a lot of things we say, and some you do, you don't, it's all over, but our goal is to take you to the next level. So it's important that you set money aside. Like Sandra was saying, if you can spend $5 to $10 a day on a latte or some fancy drink, and whatever, boba, whatever, favorite drink of choice, or you like to buy 2 packets of cigarettes every day for $12, you have money.
Yeah.
You have money. Then if you can do that, or and drink with the buddies every day after work, no one's saying to stop your life, but if you have money to do these things, you have money to invest. Simple as that.
And separate the wants for the needs.
There's a big difference. We're going to have a segment on it when we talk about money.
That's right.
Difference between
Absolutely true.
wants and needs. Because some people truly believe, if I don't have my coffee, we go to work. We've gone to work, and we're oh God, I'm going to die if I don't have my coffee. And let me see. You drove to work. You got up. You fixed yourself up, and you drove to work, and you didn't die yet. And I said, you will survive.
But that's
What am I going to do?
Coworkers.
And so, so you're not going to die if you don't have your coffee or your favorite little muffin. And so, but don't say you don't have any money if you're earmarking, well, don't I deserve it? Yeah, of course. But you have to, don't put the cart before the horse, folks. And so, yeah, we'll talk about, we'll give testimonies in some future show and tell you where we come from and our background, a little of our history. And you'll see, we're standing for you here. We're not destroyed. And everything didn't go our way. We've had challenges, financial, health, you name it, just like anybody else.
Yes.
And so you what you want to do is create a plan of action. We'll show you, not tell you. We'll show you, inform you on how to do that, so you too can prosper. We haven't arrived yet. We're on our way. This show is one mechanism.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income, folks. You've heard about that.
Yes.
And so we'll talk about what you can do to prosper too and to move ahead finally. But you have to make better decisions, best decisions for you in your best interest. Not everyone else all the time. It's good to think about other people, but you got to think about yourself. Oh, it sounds selfish, right? To think about yourself once in a while. But that's the problem.
You have to sometimes.
But you have to. You have to get yourself together. How are you going to get someone else together? When you're in the airplane and the stewardess or the hostesses, they go through the demonstration of emergency procedures. What do they tell you to do first with the mask for oxygen? Put your mask, you put yours on first before your child, your mother's, your father. Why? Because if you're unconscious, you're not going to help them.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you going to do to help them?
Yeah.
So you put your own oxygen mask on first. So you need to adopt the same behavior with your private life. And when you're getting yourself together, you get yourself together first, and you start branching out, helping everyone else.
Yes.
As appropriate. Okay? And so, anyway, what's that sound? It's time to go.
Time.
There's the music.
All right.
So, it's been wonderful, and we thank you again for sharing your time with Raising the Cane.
So long, folks.
So long.